Welcome back. Now, this morning we'll continue a conversation Mazino started yesterday, and if you stayed with us, you probably caught the hint. But in continuity, the legal battle surrounding the attempted impeachment of Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has entered uncertainty territory. A federal high court has adjourned proceedings indefinitely, effectively pausing the governor's challenge against the State House of Assembly and extending an already tense political standoff. This leaves Rivers in political limbo, with questions about governance, constitutional process, and what it means for the people of the state. To unpack this complex issue, we're joined this morning by Imeabe Oscar, National President of the South-South Youth Initiative, and Opunabo Inko-Tariah, an expert in civil rights advocacy. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Imeabe, it's good to see you again this morning. We were together yesterday.
Good morning.
Yes. So
happy New Year. No, you were not with me yesterday. You were with my brother Oscar.
Yes, indeed. Yes. and Oscar led us to a very interesting conversation. We had started our conversation talking about the impeachment and how it's affecting governance inside of Rivers State. And then Oscar led us to thinking, or rather talking about the reason for the impeachment. And there were certain allegations that have been rife in Rivers State that have gone on social media and on sometimes even print. But before we go into our conversation, let me play that piece for you from yesterday's show, Mr. Opunabo, so that you are in the know of what happened and what led us here. So let's take it away. Let's see this.
Okay, let me just inform you that the reason for this second phase of the political talks we're having recently is because the FCT minister wants a supplementary budget that will actually accommodate about 15 billion per House of Assembly member loyal to him. According to the FCT minister, this 15 billion naira will be given to the House of Assembly member loyal to him as constituency development project. Meanwhile, this House of Assembly member has been given 350 million naira each. Nothing to talk about. In the various constituency, there's nothing on ground for the 350 million that has been given to them. So the reason for this second phase of the issue is that the FCT minister wants a whooping sum of 400 billion naira as a supplementary budget
to the
already existing budget.
That's a very big allegation there, and you've moved us into another topic. So that was the moment from yesterday. Imeabe talked about certain claims where we've heard this before, where the River State lawmakers aligned with Wike were expecting the supplementary budget, and this has led to the breakdown of processes inside of River State now that has led to the impeachment. Now, to continue, these were for constituency projects, and the differences over the played into the impeachment push that we're currently having. Now, Wike reportedly promised 10 billion. You said 15 billion from yesterday, but 10 billion is what we see here, allegedly for constituency projects through a supplementary budget to pro-Wike lawmakers. And Fubara refused, and he refused to present such a budget, which infuriated them, and that contributed to the impeachment process that we are seeing here now. So, Mr. Imeabe, Mr. Oscar, first off, I would like you to add to your claim before we move on to communicate or to conversing about this.
Thank you very much. Good morning again, and good morning to Nigerians.
Morning.
It's a good thing that we have to discuss a matter that concerns us at this point in time, even though the FCT minister and the enemies of Rivers State will not allow Rivers State to be in peace. Just recently, I've been watching the trending news that is ongoing about how backward the Rivers State is becoming, and how Rivers State, that was actually seen to be a treasure base of the nation, is now becoming one of the poorest states in this country in the midst of the resources that we have. Going forward, I think if there is any sort of person, or if there is anybody that needs to be investigated, is the Rivers House of Assembly led by Honorable Martins Amewule. Martins Amewule has actually spent 350 million naira outside the budget. Martins Amewule talk about financial cross misconduct by the governor. Personally, I am not on the scale or salary scale of His Excellency, but then let's be able to look at things based on the way it should be. We are talking about a constitutional breach. We are talking about financial misappropriation. Now, if actually Martins Amewule is concerned about the welfare and the development of governance in Rivers State, will Martins Amewule be allowed to spend outside the budget? The 350 million naira that was given to Martins Amewule, was it part of 2025 budget? So I think the first thing is, he who goes to equity must come with clean hands. So if Martin Samole wants to investigate the financial misconduct of His Excellency the Governor of Rivers State, then Martin Samole himself should submit himself first or surrender himself for proper investigation. Now you spend beyond the budget. The 2025 budget did not accommodate 350 million that was given to Martins and his cohort. So where did you spend that money from? Isn't that outside the budget? So Martin Samole at this point should surrender himself or submit himself for proper investigation or how he came about or how he and his colleagues spent the 350 million naira. I think that's where we are for now. Then going forward, His Excellency, the former governor of Rivers State, it's unfortunate that we have such a leader in Rivers State that is not thinking about the welfare, development, and the people of Rivers State. Rather, is concerned about how to use Rivers State resources, how to abuse the Rivers State resources, how to abuse the taxpayers' money, and how to abuse the internal generated revenue of Rivers State for its personal gain. It's unfortunate that we have such a leader at this point in time in our dear state, Rivers State. It's unfortunate, I repeat. Going forward, Nyesom Wike, second phase of our political saga in Rivers State is just about financial aspect of it. Now, he has met with His Excellency, requesting the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, to actually add a whooping 400 billion naira as a supplementary budget, as there will be peace in Rivers State. And that this budget that he wants to add is for him to accommodate the Martin Samole-led administration or speakers or as for assembly members. Now, this is what Nyesom Wike has brought in this second phase of political tussle for. There is nothing Nyesom Wike is fighting for than to take charge of the financial aspect of Rivers State. This is quite unfortunate that Nyesom Wike, who actually become the former governor of Rivers State, in terms of Nyesom Wike, nobody, nobody, not even his local government chairman, not even the assembly members that Martin Samole was even a part of, was able to challenge Nyesom Wike as the governor of Rivers State. Yes, we understand that His Excellency was nominated by Nyesom Wike, which is what we expected Nyesom Wike to be very, very proud about. For the first time that a former governor of Rivers State was able to nominate a governor. This has never happened in the history of Rivers State. But Nyesom Wike refused, and I've not seen that part of it for him to be grateful. Now, I think Rivers stakeholders, the likes of Peter Odili, the likes of Rufus Anta-George, the likes of Ochimikoro and other people of Rivers State should be called to order for not being able to address Nyesom Wike, for being able to talk to Nyesom Wike and feel like I think they have been hypnotized.
Mr. Oscar,
I've been hypnotized by Nyesom Wike, and that's where we are today.
All right. Imeabe, this is a conversation, and I suggest that you make your responses summarily so that we will be able to get into the conversation. And of course, if you hear me speak, I please beg that you allow so that we can actually make this a very interesting conversation. I understand your passion, and I have many questions, but if I can't ask them, this will not be a conversation. All right, but thank you very much for your submission there. Now, regarding the 350 million naira, I'm going to leave that one aside for a second, but I would like you to establish the connection between Wike and the House here. You're alleging influence, you're alleging instruction, you're alleging control of someone who is no longer in government in Rivers State. Yes, he is the FCT minister and the former governor, but do you have proof of these? Let's go on a break. When we come back, Mr. Opunabo, we're going to let you speak on what everything that Mr. Imeabe Oscar has said, and then I'll need you to substantiate these claims, Mr. Oscar. But let's take a break for now. Welcome back here. It's the Breakfast Extra, and we're having this very interesting conversation about the River State instance, the impeachment process, and what's led to it. We have with us Mr. Inko-Tariah and, of course, Mr. Oscar. And we've been talking about the claims that Mr. Oscar has brought in from yesterday, which he has reiterated currently. Gentlemen, especially you, Mr. Opunabo, you've heard Imeabe's claims here, and I'm wondering if you have any take on what he said, whether to prove or disprove it.
Well, I must be honest, that was a trenchant analysis of the situation. I mean, I could see the burning passion in my younger brother. I can also tell you that the limpidity, the clarity, the assertions of my younger brother is not in doubt. I must be honest, don't bother about, I call it mountain pass relevance and sanctimonious trivialities by the speaker. It is obvious, and we all know, that the Speaker and the members of the House of Assembly are doing what they are doing at the behest of the FCT Minister. And it all boils down to control, and most importantly, financial control. First and foremost, they questioned or invited the former administrator, the Abbas, to come and give account of his stewardship financially. Abbas dismissed them as the rantings of a dog. He didn't bother about them. And they stopped. And the next thing they went to the governor. What is the whole problem? It's simple. They demanded 1 billion naira each. Don't forget, these assembly members have been given 350 million naira each with the latest SUV Prado. None has accounted for the 350 million naira given to them as constituency project. We also heard, although we cannot verify the veracity or the apocryphalness of that claim, but we have a conviction that even the 250 million naira given to the House of Assembly members, the money was actually collected from them by their principal. When I mean their principal, I'm talking about the city minister, who collected a substantial part of it and gave peanuts to them. We also hear that the local government chairmen in most local government areas, salaries have not been paid. And we are talking of autonomy of the local government areas. The state governor has no business with the local government areas. They have not interfered in the administration of the local government, which is very rare, which is a novelty in any part of the country. Even when you say the local governments are autonomous, the responsibilities, it's incumbent on the governor to ensure that the democracy of dividends trickle down to those in the local government areas. But given the peculiar circumstance in River State, orchestrated by the FCT minister, just to stimulate the efforts of the governor in delivering the dividends of democracy, the governor of River State decided to abstain himself. He had to recluse himself. He didn't want to get involved in the administration of local government areas. But we now understand that even most of the local government employees have not been paid. And you ask the question, why? Because you have somebody at the top who, when monies are released to the local government areas, they remove a substantial part of it and give back to him as a reward or as loyalty or as fidelity, as the case may be. And that is the situation in River State. But don't also forget that at the end of 4 years or 8 years, as the case may be, who is going to take the credit or the blame if anything goes wrong with any part of River State? It is the governor. This fight about this issue about gross, it's also, I'm also a strong advocate of amending the Constitution, where you say it is only the House of Assembly that can define gross misconduct. If you say it is only the House of Assembly that can define gross misconduct, then if the governor gets up in the morning to say, I will not say good morning to House of Assembly members, they will regard that as gross misconduct. That is extremely wrong. Although those who drafted the Constitution never envisaged this, but it also depends on those in positions of authority. Maybe the drafters of the Constitution consider that only honest, decent men with integrity, men of rectitude, will be placed in positions of authority. But that is not the case today, and that's why we have this problem. What is the problem of the governor? What is the sin of the governor? He refused to give them the 1 billion naira each. And that 1 billion naira, as far as I'm concerned, it is not necessarily going to go to the legislators for their own use or for the use of constituency projects. No. The truth about it is that the election, don't forget, we're in the eve of the election. This is 2026. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. This is 2026. Okay. Where the campaigns have started. We saw where the minister for the FCT minister said he was doing Thanksgiving service. Thanksgiving tour, local government, which he wouldn't have allowed. He wouldn't have allowed if he were a governor. Because we all knew how he came up with all those kind of sort of executive order, just to frustrate the opposition. But be that as it may, what they want is to gather enough money in order to work against the governor come 2026, 2027. That's the whole thing. And I want to let the world know that you say this man has refused to give you $1 billion naira. You have not accounted, just as my brothers, you've not accounted for the 350 million naira given to you. Mm-hmm. Let's go round the 22 local government areas. Let's go around the constituency and let a House of Assembly member come out to say, this is what I did with the 350 million naira given to me.
Okay, now that's the point, Mr. Opunabo. Now that's the point. Can you also point to any local government projects that was not executed that points to the misuse of this 350 million naira? Which ones were not?
It will be difficult to say this is a local government project that has not been executed.
Or anyone that was, any contractor that wasn't paid.
It will be easier to say that these are the local government projects that were executed by the assembly members. But to say this is the one that has not been executed is very difficult. Estimate, how can you say this is not the one that, because
there would be discussions, there would be proposals, there would be discussions,
but no project has been executed to justify the amount they have received. That is the problem. That is the issue here. I cannot say this is what this man has not done. But I can say, I cannot say this is what this man has done, but I cannot say this is what he has not done. Because you have scale of preference. Probably this is a man that said, okay, I'll first of all build schools.
Then to the request of the 1 billion, naira now, can you substantiate that? Imeabe, can you substantiate that anyhow? Are there any documents or any conversations that one can say was documented to prove that this was requested by the House and they weren't given by the governor?
Thank you very much. I think at this point in time, well, I am not a member of the University House of Assembly, neither a staff of the Assembly quarters, but I believe that what is playing out right now in our state is obvious because some of us may have our a very, very genuine source of information. And based on our genuine source of information, we have also been privileged to be in some of these places where, or be among some of these principals that are actually expressing their displeasure with the governor of Rivers State, especially the House of Assembly members loyal to the FCT ministers in several forums. They are not hiding it. They are openly saying it that, yes, the governor is changing. I think that's what they are saying. I've heard that in several forums where they say that government is not giving them money. And that the major challenge they have with His Excellency is because the Executive Governor of Rivers is not giving them the money they expect to throw around and to mess around with. I think it's just all about their personal greed. And secondly, the FCT Minister, Barrister Wike, is also not interested in the developments of Rivers State and also not concerned about the welfare of Rivers citizens and the genuineness of governance because he is not a man that is an architect of governance. Wike is not an architect. He's not interested in governance. Are not concerned about the welfare of Rivers people. So I think all of this has been orchestrated by the FCT minister because of his personal greed or personal interest in the resources of Rivers State. He's not interested about the welfare and the growth of Rivers State. And that's why we look back, looking back to the project of this weekend.
Mr. Oscar, just a second. I understand this passion about trying to link the FCT minister to the impeachment process inside of Rivers State, but I asked about the 1 billion naira. Is there any substantive evidence to show that it was requested by the House? Is there any? I haven't gotten that answer yet.
Now, I think the substantive evidence we are talking about is the paper documentation, possibly where we have video clip or where they are having that actually. At the moment, yes, we may not have that paper documentation at this point. But I think, like I said before, it's obvious that we have been in several forums. We are openly, of course, I do not record them because I don't record people without permission. But I've been in several forums where the House of Assembly members, we have to use some weekend, have actually expressed their displeasure, which I can very, very much spell out or mention in them of some of these.
If it's a big issue, and if you're so passionate about it, then there should be some proof.
My brother,
Yes, sir.
It is deductive logic. It is deductive logic.
But this is mass media. If we're going to go on such a claim, then there must be evidence, is what I'm saying.
No. We're going to come out with evidentiary proof. Nobody knew. I don't think. My brother, I also did not know that you are going to be asked such questions. But no problem. If the House of Assembly members, like they allege, the government denied them their due in terms of constituent work, this much the Speaker of the House of Assembly said. Now you ask the question, how? 350 million was given to you. You talked of supplementary budget. What was the whole essence of the supplementary budget? It is not the governor it behoves on the governor to decide whether he needs a supplementary budget or not. You say you want the supplementary budget because monies due you have not been given to you. What are the monies due you? So your salaries are paid, the salary of the Assembly Commission members are paid. So which other money due you are you talking about? You are just talking about, and we all know that what you wanted was, what each person wanted for God was, allegedly for God was 1 billion naira. And that's what you're asking for. That's why I say deductive logic. It's simple.
Okay then.
You don't need, I mean, it obvious any need for any further proof.
Yeah.
Because you said the salaries are being paid, Assembly Commission member, salaries are being paid, or your entitlements or whatever are being given to you. 350 million, even part of your contract released to you, but you still wanted, you still accuse the governor of not releasing money for your constituent project. What constituent are you talking about? What money are you talking about?
So,
it's the 1 billion you're talking about.
Mr. Inko-Tariah, I think for me, do you think it's possible that, this demand by the lawmakers is more institutional rather than personal? That's just one. And, I'm hearing a lot of numbers, of money flying around. Has there been any way where it has been reported to anti-corruption agencies than, we just hearing it, about politics conversation?
That is the advocacy of most persons now, that they have to, it's like what you call the security vote. That's what we are saying. The EFCC will investigate this issue.
Has there been
most of these constituent the funds meant for constituent projects are not used for that purpose. They are used to further align the pockets of the assembly members, the legislators. Forget about the sentential rhetorics of the speaker, who I say they are dismissed as mounting pious relevance and sanctimonious triviality, trying to give the impression that they are there in the interest of Rivers President. They are not there. They are there to project and protect the interest. Let me tell you, the speaker's own case is really very special, because he believes that if the governor and the deputy governor are removed from office, he becomes the acting governor constitutionally. And as acting governor, within the 3 or 6 months, as the case may be, definitely he's going to do his bidding and the bidding of his master. And that's why you see him that ferocious. You see him pugnacious, always fighting to ensure that the governor is being removed. This fight is not about Rivers persons. The governor is there in the image of the Rivers people. This is a man that has said Rivers money for Rivers persons. And they said the man is stingy. No doubt about that. He is stingy because Rivers persons are used to governors who come and dole out monies. All they want is patronage, all they want is loyalty.
So, Mr.
They are not interested. They said, 1 minute, sorry, my sister. They said the FCT minister did a lot. He did nothing. His sons graduated from schools in London. His son studied law, the other one studied economics or thereabout. I was a special advisor when they announced and we drew the scholarship of those who went abroad to study economics, to study law and all. He said it was unnecessary and a waste of public funds. That these are courses that can be done here. That he can only consider those who went abroad to study courses that are not offered here. But this is the same man that went over and sent his kids abroad. Is that not duplicity? Is that not a contradiction or paradox?
So, Mr. Inko-Tariah,
so this fight is not about Rivers persons, as far as the FCT minister is concerned. It's about his pockets.
So you're
and that wasn't interested.
So you're saying
when they say the governor is stingy, the governor is not stingy in terms of projects. Look at the projects the governor executed before the suspension, the state declared a state of emergency, and even after. So the government is not stingy in terms of project.
Mr. Inko-Tariah, so basically what you're saying that what the lawmakers are demanding are not institutional, but they are very personal to them. So it has nothing to do with Rivers State. It is
purely egocentric. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Purely egocentric. They are personal. Just to further align their own pockets.
So if there was an investigation, because Mr. Inko-Tariah, we're asking this very specifically, and Imeabe, this goes to you as well. We're asking this very specifically because if there hasn't been a report to the authorities, the EFCC, for instance, if you're only just sitting down and saying that, okay, it should be investigated, there needs to be proof. Now, his son graduating here or there, that's not proof of the influence that the governor or the FCT that the minister has in the states.
Sorry, my brother. We are cross-border. Let me correct this impression.
Even the money is being requested or being allegedly requested.
No, 1 minute. Sorry, my brother. Because very soon you tell me there is no time. So let me quickly correct that impression.
Okay.
I can send my daughter to school here. I can send my kids abroad. I don't have a problem with that. But if I send my kid abroad to study law, And I should not discourage you from sending your kid abroad to study law. Now, we said River State government, that the scholarships were awarded by the right of the Opunabo as a governor. And we had a RSSD or something, who were in charge of that. And we had the money, enough money to sponsor those kids. Now imagine the trauma they went through when they were withdrawn. Some of them in their final year, some of them in their third year, they were withdrawn, and they said they will be readmitted into schools in Nigeria. Most of them were not readmitted. Most of them committed suicide. So the point I'm making is, he who goes to equity goes with clean hands. Justice, you cannot cherry pick in the administration of justice. That is my point. So the what I'm telling you now is that what this fight is all about is what I call the pestilence of godfatherism. It really has nothing to do with the interest of Rivers persons. It's egocentric. That's what this battle is all about. You tell me one major sin the governor has committed other than saying, no, I must break out of this asphyxiation. I must not be suffocated to death by one man as against Rivers people. This is what this struggle is all about. Or then you tell me one thing that the governor has done that you say he should be impeached and removed from office. You know, there are two different things, impeachment and removal. Impeachment seems official indictment. That's just the meaning of impeachment. Then you now have the removal after the impeachment. But you tell me one thing that the governor has done that is worthy of impeachment and removal. Nothing. Nothing. You're talking of the 600 billion naira. You're talking of, sorry, the budget. This is a budget that was passed by the National Assembly. And the appropriation lifespan is 1 year. And the government is saying, it is not time and I don't need supplementary budget. Why must you force supplementary budget on the governor if there is no pecuniary interest? Because in that supplementary budget, you believe that your interest will be taken care of. That's why you're talking of supplementary budget. Otherwise, why will you force it on the governor? This is the man who says, this is how much I want to spend. In this particular place, even the budget was forced on the governor, foisted on the governor. Because if the budget was presented to the president and who sent it to the National Assembly, and it was ratified. And that is what the government is using. The lifespan of that budget has not expired. Why do you want that? And the government is the only one that can say, I need a supplementary budget. Why are you calling for a supplementary budget?
We spent plenty of time on this issue of this supplementary budget, and we're forgetting that the main issue is actually about the impeachment process and how it's affecting the citizens. I'm wondering what
the gross misconduct outlined now. This part of the gross misconduct outlined.
Indeed, but I would like to know whether this signifies a deeper mistrust between the people and governance here. If these are the allegations that are being raised by people in certain quarters, in certain communities, what about the grassroots? What is the effect on these people, apart from the fact that there are projects that are not being executed? What are the people themselves saying? I asked Imeabe about this yesterday, and I can't remember what your response was, but I don't think that I was satisfied with it. There seems to be a kind of docile response from the people of Rivers State. I remember your response now. You said that the governor had asked them not to respond in any way, shape, or form. While that seems noble to forestall anything violent, what are the people actually going through? What are the lived realities of the people of Rivers State currently because of this impeachment process? That is the bigger issue here. Mr. Imeabe, if you will again, or no, rather, Mr. Opunabo, because I would like to hear from you. I heard from Imeabe yesterday on that question.
Very good. I can tell you that Rivers persons are peeved. They are extremely angry. Because in as much as the governor, given the circumstances we find ourselves, has done extremely well in terms of delivery of dividends of democracy. Extremely well, given the circumstance. Rivers persons are not really happy because we want the governor to be left alone to do what he can do. And we have extreme confidence in that governor that he is going to make Rivers. Look, in the last 8 years, it has been a march of terror, conquest, and subjugation. You are talking of projects that the SPCs are. What are the projects? Building flyovers. Those are projects that are linked to money that will be federal line in his own pockets. Are you talking of employment? There are no employments. Are you talking of salary increment for workers? Nothing. There was stagnation even in ministries. He just talked of project, even in the ICT. Look at the strike recently by the workers in FCT. He just project, and why are you having on protest? Simply because of the pecuniary gains. Let's not be deceived. That's why I keep talking of project. What of the human capital development? Zero. Completely zero. And this is a government that has come with holistic approach. If you go to the ministry, the people are very happy with it. If you go on the streets, the people are very happy with it. It might not give you cash, but it's going to create an enabling environment that will help you grow. And that is what they say. Do not give a man feed, but teach him how to feed. And that is what the government is doing. Not to be dependent on a particular government, depend on the government and not on the governor. That's the policy of the present governor. But what the FCT minister wants is no. Depend on the governor. And your dependence on the governor will be based on my relationship with you. He makes one or two other persons a little bit comfortable when he was the governor of the state. But that was the microscopic few. We are talking about a generality of Rivers persons. And that is the whole problem. I can tell you now in Rivers State, that Rivers persons are very pleased with the governor, and most of them are pleased. They are very upset that this man is not being allowed to rule. But notwithstanding the challenges, he has done tremendously well for himself and for Rivers persons in terms of governance. If you go to the Secretariat, Rivers persons are very happy. You go on the streets, projects are going on. The human capital development is palpable and pervasive. It's everywhere. You can feel it. Then what else do you want to get? That's what governance is all about. Governance is not to be selfish in nature. That's what governance is all about. But in the 8 years of voting, that wasn't the case. It wasn't the case at all. Not at all. It was not project, and he had one strategy. He was inviting the media so that people would say, he's using Rivers money for Rivers. Okay, look at just recently, he just bought a jet. Let me ask you a question. A man said he bought a Rolls Royce. You ask yourself, from 1999 to date, you've been in government. How much is your salary? Your salary cannot afford the Rolls Royce. From local government to minister, you cannot afford the Rolls Royce. Now we also hear he's got a jet. But this is a government that is not interested in all those things.
Right. So, Mr. Oscar...
Probably because he thought he was going to be a president, he built another presidential villa in Rivers State. Taxpayers' money. Half of Rivers State is owned by Nyesom Ezewonwike. It's no secret anymore.
Right.
Is that the kind of governance we want to continue? And we say, no problem. You've done your bit, go. Now allow this man who is there in the image of Rivers persons to govern. You say no. You still want to dictate to him because you brought him. And so what? So if I sponsor your wedding, I should sleep with your wife?
Mr. Inko-Tariah, thank you for that. Now, Mr. Oscar, I would like you to add to what Mr. Inko-Tariah said, but I also wanted to ask that, do you think that these allegations of, all this money's flying around and the reason behind the impeachment, because this is more personal, like you said, would be the reason why the court has adjourned this, because they want to get to the bottom before dealing with this issue?
This opportunity to thank. I want to use this opportunity to thank my uncle in the studio with me, Opunabo Inko-Tariah, for standing on the path of justice. It's good to see an elder or stakeholders like this joining us, the youth, to stand on the side of justice. It gives us an encouragement. Moving forward, I think it's actually a good thing that we are discussing this particular issue. Like I said earlier, the whole essence or the brain behind, the rationale behind all of this is because the FCT minister want to pocket Rivers State. There is no other truth or bitter truth than this. You see, we talk about constitution. I always want to say that we should discuss constitution where it is necessary. And then also should discuss personal interest where it is necessary. At this point, we don't have a constitutional problem in Rivers State. The only thing we have at this point is personal and selfish interest of one man trying to play out in the interest of everybody. That's what is going on in Rivers State. We don't have a constitutional breach. The executive governor of Rivers State is doing well. His Excellency Imeabe Fubara is doing well. All we are trying to say at this point in time is that the executive governor of Rivers State, Imeabe Fubara, should not allow himself to be distracted by this high level of Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister level of politics. Because what the FCT minister is trying to achieve is to make sure that the executive governor of Rivers State do not succeed or would not be able to pinpoint anything he has done for the people as to ascertain his return for 2027. He's trying to distract him from governance So he will not have anything to use to campaign to Rivers people, or nothing tangible that Rivers people can be able to see that will be able to return him for 2027. This is what the FCT is going to play out. Now, the court adjourning the date for all of this. I think it's also good that the court also must go into hearing, and they also allow investigation to be given, just like they also ask us for proof about the 400 billion or the 250 million. With some of us, because of this question you have asked, we are going to also go and find this to get our very serious or genuine evidence or proof, so that maybe next time when we are able to appear on your station, we can be able to present to you that these are the evidence you asked for. Like I said, like my uncle said, Opunabo said, if at all we are prepared to present some of this proof, or we are privileged to know some of this question, we have been able to make available some of this proof or evidence that you asked for. So moving forward, it is also good that the court have decided to hear this matter, and also decided to give at least an adjourning date to listen more and to get more clarification about the happenings in Rivers State. But then, this is not a matter of constitution. This is a matter of personal interest. The Rivers people must rise up. You talk about people, the grassroots people. I belong to the grassroots. I've never been on the pay of the governor. I'm not a former advisor. I'm not a former government official. I've not been a government official before. I am just a youth leader in my own sector. I belong to the grassroots level. So when you talk about people at the grassroots level, then I am here as the people at the grassroots level. I'm quite sure you're not going to interview everybody on the street. So you have me representing the people of the South Side Youth Initiative and other interested Rivers youth that are interested about peaceful governance, about genuine governance in the state. I think at this point, those of us belonging to the grassroots level, which I come from, I am coming from the grassroots level. I am not a government appointee. I've not been a government appointee before.
Mr. Oscar, finally, and if you would keep this very short, what outcome would you like to see that preserves the rule of law and the confidence of the people in the governance? Please, real quick, 30 seconds, please, because we have to go.
Please come back to your question.
I'm asking, what outcome would you like to see that preserves law and also that preserves law and governance with this situation?
You see what I'm saying?
Now, what we expect at this point in time as a proof for the rule of law in Rivers State is that first, if he will go to equities, like they said, must come with clean hands or go with clean hands. So if the speaker was able to spend 350 million naira that was not in Rivers State budget, he should first submit himself for investigation. Before investigating the governor or for accusing the governor of financial fraud conduct, he should first be investigated before investigating the governor. That's what we are saying.
All right. I think that sorts it there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oscar. I appreciate that.
No.
Mr. Opunabo, you have a summary of you want to summarize your conclusion here real quick, sir, please.
Yes, I want to be honest with you. I am not bothered about any panel to be set up to investigate the governor.
Okay.
Or the allegations leveled against the governor.
Okay.
Although we live in a country where the rule of law is caged and administration of justice roundly subverted. But I want to advise that those members of any panel, if eventually a panel is set up, members of that panel must be men of integrity. And the tempest of justice must not be allowed to blow fitfully. So that we are going to have justice in the matter and once and for all put an end to this madness.
All right.
Rivers persons are very happy with the governor of Rivers State. Rivers persons believe that the governor of Rivers State is very innocent. Rivers persons believe that the governor of Rivers State should be given the right to recontest, because that is the whole essence of it. That's the quiddity of it, this whole nonsense.
All right.
Rivers State people believe that the governor is there in the image of Rivers persons and he should give right to recontest. I am not worried about impeachment. It is the constitutional right of the House of Assembly or even the National Assembly. But such rights must be exercised prudently.
All right, then.
The members of the panel must be men of integrity.
Mr. Opunabo Inko-Tariah, Mr. Imeabe Oscar, thank you very much for 45 minutes of fiery conversation here regarding the instances inside of Rivers State and the impeachment process. Yes, we have to go now, Mr. Opunabo. We apologize once again. That is our mantra. But thank you very much, gentlemen. We've had a very interesting conversation.